Hi guys, and welcome to episode 11 of Auntie Danny Knits. I'm Danny and I'm your host. It is end of August 26th. And this is going to be a fun episode. It won't go out right away because I'm leaving in like 13 hours. I'm getting on a plane. So, oops. I haven't packed or anything. I'm not on top of my game tonight. But I'm going to podcast because I want to. So we'll start off with my finished objects. First one, I actually don't have here right now. It was a gift for a baby shower, and I actually recorded a little bit about it before I gave it away, so here we go. Hi guys, this is past me. I'm still not sure how I'm going to fit this in the video, but I have a quick little bit here. Wanted to pop in real quick and show you something that I'm not going to have for my finished object segment during my regular recording because it's going to be given away. I had not started this at the time that I recorded the last podcast. I remembered not too long after that there's a baby shower at work this week and I needed to make something. I started years ago making usually baby blankets for my coworkers who were pregnant, not realizing at the time that because I worked mostly with youngish women of childbearing age, I'd be making a boatload of baby blankets. And that's okay, I don't mind. But that does mean that I've made a lot, and it's kind of a tradition thing, and if I don't make one for someone, then she's gonna get her feelings hurt and think that I don't like her, whatever. So I don't want that. So I knit up this baby blanket, and I've got it here. It's knit out of Bernat Pipsqueak, and I don't have the tags anymore, but I've got the colors listed on my Ravelry page. And it is just a chevron blanket. It's got the little top bits. I knit it with US 9 needles, so it's not super wide, not super long, but it is super soft and cuddly. There's a nice little view of it. It's white with pink and blue and green and yellow, just perfect little baby colors. And I used three, almost 4 skeins. The reason that last one is an almost is I actually started using this particular yarn for a blanket that Bear and I started knitting on a couple years ago. So there's about yay much by yay much that is the top part of a blanket for one of her dolls. So that part did not get used. I didn't tear out our knitting, but we switched over to a pink color to go with the pink in the yarn. Ooh, that's blowing out a lot. There we go. So yeah, that is the baby blanket that I knit in about a week and a half, and I'll be giving to the mom-to-be at work on Thursday. So by the time you watch this podcast, it will already be gifted, and hopefully she loved it. So there was that, and I finished some more things because there was Stash Dash that ended last week, and I made my goal, and then some, but we'll talk about that later. First, let's show you what I finished. So the first thing is this lovely little tunic dress. This is the Sweet Apricot pattern by Tyga Hilliard. I knit it using Loops and Threads Snuggly Wuggly in the color Dark Turquoise. This is going to be a gift for one of my nieces for Bug. Bear has a lighter green dress with the same sort of leafy pattern, and I'm going to do a little one for Bean that again has a similar leafy pattern in it. You saw the little sheepy. That is where I was last time. It was knit top down, so that's where I was last time I talked about it. So I finished off the bottom and got it all wrapped up, so I'm really pleased with that. I even added my little Made with Love tag. That's something that, again, I've started adding on a lot of the gifts that I do. So this one is going to get the little sheepy dangle taken off and put away so that I can give it to my folks when they come visit and they can take it back home to my niece. So that one is done. I still, like I said, I still have to do the one for Bean, but I'll get to that. Next up on my list of finished things is one that wasn't even started last time I podcasted. I had just purchased the yarn after visiting my local yarn shop last weekend, and I knit a thing. So this is the Bon Bon Toque by Tin Can Knits. I love this. This is, the color is Malabrigo Rios in an Anniversario, and it's got all these lovely, lovely cables. I went with the men's toque style as opposed to the women's slouchy hat style because slouchy hats just aren't my thing, but I do like the tighter toque style. Wow, it looks really weird with my hair all up, but it's so comfy. I wore it the other day after I finished it. Not that it's cold here, it's still summer, but you know, the AC turns on and sometimes you get a little bit of a chill. Sometimes you don't get a little bit of a chill, but you want to wear your hat anyway because it's new and you finished it and you're really happy. So this is my new hat and I'm really happy with it. This one I knit on a US 6 4.0 millimeter and US 8 5.0 millimeter. And it's lovely. I'm very pleased with it. So that is my Bon Bon Toque. And then I finished some spinning, guys. So I'd shown you the singles of a couple of different things. This is the finished skein of my Teeny Bikini. It ended up being a 2-ply, just a traditional 2-ply. This was fiber from Unwind Yarn Company, and I don't believe she's dyeing fiber anymore, but I got this 2014, I think. Oh, it still smells good. I use the lavender scented Eucalyptus, and yeah, it smells good. But I got this at Stitches South in 2014, I believe it was. So it was sitting in my stash for quite a while, and it was about time to get it done. So I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It's not perfectly even throughout. There are little bits of thick and thin, but overall, I'm really happy with it. You know, it seemed to balance out fairly well. You know, thick parts blended with thin parts, so it's mostly even. Honestly, it's going to be good enough for what I want. And I'm actually really pleased. This is the first time in a very long time that I've spun something to be thicker than super skinny. So this is, I would say, worsted to bulky, depending on the section that you're looking at, but it's going to make a great either a hat or a cowl for me. It's going to match nicely with the colors of some hand warmers that I have, and I think it'll look great with a denim jacket because that's about as thick as I need here most of the time. So it'll be just a nice little extra something. But I'll knit this later. I got just shy of 220 meters out of it. So that was better than I'd expected. And then I also plied my Hidden Passion, and this was a loop bullseye bump that I got last year for Christmas. No, I got it the year before for Christmas because I got new ones this year and I wanted to finish this so I could start this year's new ones. Jim's parents are great and like to get me loop bullseye bumps for Christmas, and I'm never gonna say no to that. But this one is called Hidden Passion. It's got these lovely purples and then that really nice deep burgundy, and it is really, really fine. I don't know if you can see just how fine those strands are. I would say it is lace to light fingering, and this was a chain ply because I wanted to preserve the color repeats. And one of the ladies from my knit night, Barbara, pointed me towards a pattern. It's actually one that she had done out of some Noro, and I really liked how it looked with the sort of the bigger stripiness of Noro. So these stripes are going to be even wider, I think, than the Noro, but I like how it looked with stripiness to it. So I'm going to use the same pattern that she had used. But I was really pleased with this. I got so much out of this. It was So it was 4.9 ounces. I think I ended up getting 835 meters. That's a lot. That's a lot, man. So yeah, I'm gonna knit a giant shawl out of this, and it still smells good too. So that was, no wonder it took me forever to spin this, doing it that fine and getting that much yardage out of it, or meterage, but I'm really pleased with it, and it still is super soft. This one was, I want to say it was merino tussa silk, something else. It'll be linked, the project will be linked so you can check it out. So that is what I finished, and I am super pleased. So what am I working on now? A lot of things. There was a lot of knitting on things that got finished for Stash Dash. A lot of knitting on that Sweet Apricot, but I did start some new things. One of the new things I started was a sock. Yeah, I know, I have like a gajillion socks going all over the room. But this was a special sock. I started this on Monday the 21st with the Eclipse. This is my Eclipse sock. So it's got a little bit of yellow and then the rest is going to be black. The yellow is some really old stash. This is Frog Tree Petaboo Sock Tonal in color 1199. And I don't have a lot of it left. I've used it for several little things and a little dress thing. So I don't have much left. The ball of the yellows across the room, so I can't show you, but it'll be enough for toes. I may do heels and cuffs. I may just do heels. I'll probably do heels because I'm thinking black yarn heels gonna suck. But the black is some Premier Yarn Deborah Norville Serenity sock weight in the color black. Nothing too fancy about that. There is, I don't know if you can tell, there's definitely a difference in the weight of the Petaboo and the Serenity. I can definitely feel it, but you know what? That's not necessarily bad because it's going to be the toes and the heels that wear out fastest anyway. So having a slightly thicker yarn there isn't going to hurt. So there's that one. I've also been working on a Taiga Hilliard shawl using Schackenmeyer SMC Micro, and there are 3 colors. This is the 3rd, and let's see if I can show this to you. It's a triangular shawl. It's called Spark Lake, and it's got this creamy color, a tan color, and then this chocolate brown. So I've done the top few sections. I'm on the accent stripe now, and then I've got another cream section, another tan section, and then bind off. So I'm making good progress on that. I really like this yarn. I bought it a couple years ago at a store called Fleece, which has now relocated to another state, so they're not so easy to shop from anymore. But I really like this micro. It is 100% polyacryl acrylic, so it's an acrylic, but it's really smooth and soft. It feels very similar to bamboo or maybe microfiber. I'm guessing maybe that's why it's called a micro, but it's really nice. And it's getting to the point where you can't really tell because it's bunched up on here, but the rows are getting to be very long. But since I'm going to be on a long trip the next couple of days, hopefully I'll be able to take this with me and get some decent progress on it. It's riding around in my bag from Amy's mom. What is her name? Oh, I feel bad that I can't remember now. I should know this. Because the bag was part of the birthday kit last year from the Stockinette Zombies. Silver Shed Bags. That's who it's from. It's a Silver Shed bag. And it's really cute. It's rounded. It's just got a nice lining inside, a zipper, and it's probably more appropriate for a sock project than a shawl of this size, because it's pretty stuffed in there. But you know what? It's working for me. And I've got my last 2 skeins of yarn in here, so it works. But that's Spark Lake. I have also been working on a couple more NICU noggins. This is just some more Premier Yarn wool-free sock in maybe Santa Fe. It's one of their self-striping colorways. Nothing too fancy about that. That's been my lunchtime knitting, because I don't like taking big projects to work on at lunch. I don't like taking a shawl or a baby blanket or a sweater or anything like that. It just feels like by the time I finish eating and start knitting on something, I only get 1 or 2 rows of a big project, whereas if I'm working on something little like that, I can get half a hat done in the what's left of my lunch break after I'm done eating. So that's why that's come along with me. Of course, lunch breaks this week have been a little bit weird. We had the baby shower and the eclipse, and so that sort of threw everything off. But you know, it's still traveling in my purse. The last thing I've been working on is my Father's Day cast on. Talked about this a little ways back. I had started it on Father's Day, just like on Mother's Day, I started a Mother's Day cast on. The Mother's Day cast on was a gift for my mom, and so I decided to do a Father's Day cast on as a gift for my dad. And it is a sweater vest. I'm using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the color Reindeer Heather. And that little guy is where I was last time. I'd only done about an inch or so. And I decided that I was going to work on that this week in my evenings. And so I've got the first repeat of the little chart done. So it's a sort of argyle-y look. Simple cables, knit and purl, nothing too fancy. Man, I gotta say, thank you, Dana, for teaching me how to cable without a cable needle. I am cabling like crazy. You saw the Bon Bon Toque with all the cables and this thing with the cables. I'm loving it. But yeah, this is, again, it's kind of squished up on the needles, so it looks smaller than it is. It's supposed to be 40-inch, stitches falling off. It's supposed to be 40 inches. I will double measure, but you know, it's, when you stretch out the ribbing, it should be fine. I'm a little nervous, again, because Dad's not here to try it on, and he won't be until, I don't know, they haven't actually told me when they're coming to visit, just sometime this fall. So I'm going to, I think my plan is, because this is going fairly quickly, I will knit, because it's bottom up, I'll knit to like the underarm, or where I think the underarm will be. I will wait for him to get here. I'll put it on waste yarn, get him to try it on. Make sure that it's long enough in the body, make sure that it's big enough around. I hope it is, because that will be really crappy if it's not. But he also has lost a little bit of weight lately. So maybe it'll be okay. Hopefully it won't be too big. You know what, if it's too big, he'll just have to wear a bigger shirt underneath it. That'll be fine. The pattern needed some tweaking. It's got ribbed sections on the side, and as written, the ribbing on the side didn't quite line up with the waistband ribbing. So I had to tweak that a little. But I mean, that was just 1 or 2 stitches of playing. And that was something that I made a point of reading all the comments as I was going through these options for my dad. Before I started knitting this sweater vest pattern, I went through and read all the notes that I could, because there were a lot of people who had notes, and that's great. It's really helpful. That's one of my favorite things about Ravelry these days, is being able to look at the notes and see what people ran into. And almost everyone who knit the size that I'm knitting included a note that they'd had to do some finagling to make that section line up. And I thought, well, maybe it's been updated since then, but it doesn't look like it has. And that's okay, because I read the notes and I was prepared for it, and it wasn't a big deal. I've been knitting long enough to be able to deal with that sort of thing, no problem. So there's that. But yeah, I've been working on that, and like I said, I got a full pattern repeat done, and I'm going to move the little sheepy marker up so that I know next time where to show you. There's that. So like I said, I'm pretty pleased with how that one is going. So shopping. I'm really bad at not buying things, guys. Really bad at this. But there was a sale. Oh, sales, man, they kill me. So last week I ended up going to a Joann's. That's not my normal Joann's. It's in the next city over. I had to be out there for something else, and I thought, you know, while I'm out here, I'll just check it out, because sometimes they've got different colors or supplies than we've got at my local Joann's. And it turns out that they had a whole bunch of stuff on clearance because they were about to get a renovation in the store. So I thought, I better check this out. And I ended up coming away with a bunch of stuff that was really, really on a good sale. So I got some skeins of the Premier Yarns Deborah Norville Everyday Collection Heathers in the heather charcoal, charcoal heather color. So it's this nice dark gray with the little heathery bits and lighter gray whites. I got enough of this to make myself another Easy All Year cardigan by Tyga Hilliard. I had made one out of the Deborah Norville Everyday prints in was in shades of cream, and I ended up giving that to my mom, which was wonderful because she loves it and those colors are great for her. But that left me without one, so I decided to get some to make myself a new one. So I was excited to get started on that. And then they also had, I don't have them over here to show you because I got a lot of them, the Clover Takumi interchangeable needles. They're the bamboo needles. I hadn't been able to find them at my Joann's for quite some time. I'd seen them when they first came out, and then I hadn't seen them again. But I had bought a size 6 and a size 8 to do that sweet apricot. So I had them, but I didn't have any other size, and I only had one cord. And at Joann's on sale were all of these interchangeable tips and several more cords. So I bought I think probably 4 different cords, and then I bought every size of tip they had, because the regular price was like $8.99 or something, and they were on clearance for $1.97 each. Less than $2 for a set of tips that are normally $9. How could I say no? Plus, I wasn't sure, when I was talking to the checkout guy, it sounded like they probably weren't going to be carrying those anymore. And that kind of makes sense because, like I said, my Joann's, which is bigger, doesn't have them anymore. So I thought, you know what, I better get them while they're here even, but especially while they're on sale for that kind of a price. How can I say no? So now I have a full set of the Clover Takumi interchangeables, I think going from a US 4 or US 5 all the way up to a US 11. So it's a pretty wide range, and yeah, that pleases me. I should do well with those. The final thing I got was a set of Malabrigo Rios in the color teal feather. This lovely teal green. Oh, I love this color. This is my color. So I've been staring at this every time I went to my local yarn store since the store opened. Every time I went in, I'd go look at this and think, I don't have a pattern for it yet. And I didn't want to just buy a whole bunch not knowing what I was going to do with it. So I'd been putting it off, and I ended up getting some. I got 6 skeins because I have a plan. So let's talk about other stuff now, and I'll tell you about the plan. I have a knit group that I go to on Friday nights, and we decided last week that we wanted to do a knit along. We'd been burned by some mystery knit alongs and stuff like that in the past, and you know, we don't all have exactly the same taste in styles, and that's fine. That's actually a good thing, because then we get to see a lot of really cool stuff and see nifty techniques being done without necessarily having to do them ourselves. Anyway, what we decided to do was to pick a designer, and everyone knit something from that designer. We figured, you know, there are enough designers out there that have huge ranges of things that we can pick someone that everyone will find something that they like. So we started a thread in the group, because we've got a Ravelry group for that, and listed a bunch of designers, and we ended up choosing Tin Can Knits, which is fun. I really like Tin Can Knits designs. I own like 80% of the patterns released, but you know, I might like them a little bit. That Bonbon Duke was another Tin Can Knits pattern. And we were talking through who wanted to knit what, and it ended up that I think at least 3 of us are going to knit the Harvest cardigan. It's part of the Simple collection. It's one of their free patterns, which, I mean, that wasn't what we were searching for. It's just one of the ladies wanted a cardigan that was open front because she'd had a bad experience with buttons and didn't want to do another set of buttons right away. But she didn't want something like the Mama Vertebrae that had a very narrow front. She wanted a front that would come together and hang nicely. And she ended up picking that one. I said, I love that one. I've actually made it 3 times in kids sizes. I did that for my nieces. If you remember the photo that I have of them, I don't have it hanging in here, but I had it downstairs, where they were all wearing the matching red Christmas sweaters. Those red sweaters were all the Harvest pattern. I did it in the 1 to 2 year size, 2 to 4 year, and 4 to 6 year. And now I'm going to be doing it in a grown-up size for myself. So I'm kind of excited about that. Yeah, it's going to be nice. So that is what I'm going to use this Malabrigo Rios teal feather for. This is going to be a Harvest sweater for me. So Stash Dash. Stash Dash ended last Saturday, the 20th? 21st? Oh, something like that. Maybe it was last Sunday. It ended last week. And I had a lot started and not a lot finished. You may recall that from the last podcast, but I wanted to really push and get those 2 skeins of yarn spun and plied so that I could count them. And I finished those up late Saturday afternoon. Maybe it was Sunday afternoon. The last day of Dash Dash, in the afternoon, I finished them and got them all wound up into skeins and measured, and then I soaked them and whatnot, so it may be slightly different yardage, but I don't think it really changed too much. I'm not too worried about that. It was close enough. And then I thought, you know what? I can go ahead and finish that Sweet Apricot. I think I can get that done. I want to get that done. I just wanted to have it off my needles because it had been on for quite a while. And there's nothing wrong with a long-term project, but I have a lot of those sitting in the closet over here and I don't need anymore. So I wanted to be finished with it. I knew that I'd be talking to the girls again probably this weekend, and I wanted to be able to show it off. So I pushed ahead and I finished it around 11:30 that night. And I had entered everything into the 10K finish line earlier that day for Stash Dash. You know, put everything in, got all the photos, so that when I finished plying the yarn, I got that put in, and I had my total. Like, oh, I'm so close. And no, I'm not gonna push, but I really want to finish. Like I said, I stayed up later than I should have, and I finished that sweet apricot and put it in, and I ended up with a stash grand total of 15,027 meters. So I hit the 15K. I was not aiming for 15K. I was aiming for 10K. That's what I wanted to hit this year. Like, I'll hit 10, I'll be fine. I hit 15, but I'd already entered everything into the 10K finish line, so. But hey, now I have a new goal for next year to beat this year. Oh, that's going to be tough. I don't know that I'm going to have a giant blanket next year that gets finished. But, yay, I beat my stash goal, so I'm really happy about that. No nail polish today. Ooh, but I will stick in the nail polish from the previous section. One more quick little bit from the past, because I'm really super excited about this. These are my eclipse nails. So I've got the dark sky with the stars, and then the full eclipse nail. Just used OPI, and I'll grab the colors and put them on the website or on the show notes. But I was pretty pleased with those. I had to show you before. They're starting to chip, so I'm going to have to take it off, so it won't be there for the regular podcast. But again, wanted to show because I was excited. Yay! So I think that's about it, because, yeah, I gotta get ready to go. I haven't packed or anything. I'll probably be well back on my way home before this goes up, and that's okay. Yeah, so sorry this podcast is going to come out late, but I don't know that I'm going to have good enough Wi-Fi to get it all posted at the hotel. And I know I'm not going to have time to get show notes done before I leave. So this will probably all get edited together, maybe on the plane on the way home when I'm not worrying about anything else. But I hope you've had a wonderful couple of weeks, and I hope you have a couple more wonderful weeks coming up. Enjoy your knitting time and crafting time, and I will talk to you in 2 more weeks.